I need to tell you something that most people are completely missing right now. We're standing at the threshold of one of the most powerful wealth activation periods of the entire year, and if you're one of 3 specific zodiac signs, the next 60 days could completely transform your financial reality. I'm not talking about small wins or minor improvements. I'm talking about the kind of breakthrough that makes you look back on this moment and realize everything changed. Here's what's happening right now, as we move through the final quarter of 2026. There's a cosmic configuration forming that astrologers have been tracking for months. Saturn, the planet of structure and long-term rewards, is completing its journey through Aries. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, is moving through Cancer in its exalted position. And these 2 planetary giants are about to form an aspect that only occurs once every 30 years, creating what I call a wealth portal. A specific window where the universe rewards those who've been building foundations, doing the work, and staying committed even when results weren't visible. But here's what nobody is telling you. This wealth activation isn't random. It's not about luck or chance. The 3 zodiac signs about to experience this financial breakthrough have been in preparation mode for years. They've been tested, refined, and positioned. And now, as we approach the year's end, the cosmic payoff is arriving. If you've been feeling this strange pull lately, like something big is about to shift in your financial life, like you're on the edge of something you can't quite name, there's a very specific reason for that. Your soul already knows what's coming. Your body is already preparing. The question is, are you ready to receive it? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't just theory. This is based on precise planetary mathematics, ancient astrological wisdom, and patterns I've been observing in real time. And if you're one of the 3 signs I'm about to reveal, you need to understand exactly what's being asked of you right now. Because missing this window could mean waiting another 3 decades for this exact configuration to return. Let me start by explaining why this particular moment in time is so significant. Because if you don't understand the cosmic mechanics at play, you might dismiss this as just another transit. Just another astrological event that sounds interesting but doesn't actually change anything. And that would be a massive mistake. Saturn has been in Aries since February 2026. And this placement has been intense. Saturn in Aries is like a cosmic drill sergeant demanding that you step into your power, take responsibility, and build something real. It's been pushing everyone to mature, to stop making excuses, to face reality head-on. For some people, this has felt crushing. For others, it's been the wake-up call they desperately needed. But here's what makes this moment different. Saturn is now in the final degrees of Aries, what astrologers call the anarchic degrees, the crisis degrees, the point of no return. This is where Saturn delivers its final exam. Everything you've learned, everything you've built, everything you've sacrificed over the past months, it's all being tested right now. At the same time, Jupiter is in Cancer, and this is huge. Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, meaning it's operating at maximum power. Jupiter rules expansion, growth, opportunity, and abundance. Cancer rules home, family, emotional security, and foundational wealth. When Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, it's like the universe opens a vault of resources and says, "Here, ride. Take what you need to build something lasting." This isn't quick money that disappears. This is generational wealth energy. This is the kind of abundance that creates security for years to come. Now, when Saturn in late Aries and Jupiter in Cancer form a square aspect, which is exactly what's happening right now, something extraordinary occurs. A square in astrology is a 90-degree angle, and it creates friction, tension, dynamic pressure. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. But it's incredibly productive. Think of it like this. Saturn is the architect demanding precision and discipline. Jupiter is the benefactor offering unlimited resources. The square between them creates a situation where you can't just dream about wealth. You have to build it. You can't just hope for abundance. You have to earn it through strategic action. The universe is saying, I'll give you everything you need, but you have to show me you're serious. You have to prove you can handle it. This is why the next 60 days are so critical. This square is perfecting right now, and it's creating a narrow window where massive financial breakthroughs are possible. But only for those who are willing to do what Saturn demands while staying open to what Jupiter offers. And here's the thing, not everyone is positioned to take advantage of this. The cosmic curriculum doesn't hand out rewards to everyone equally. It rewards those who've been doing the work, those who've been building foundations even when nobody was watching, those who've stayed committed even when results weren't immediate. And that brings me to the 3 zodiac signs that are standing directly in the path of this wealth activation. These aren't random selections. These are the signs where Saturn and Jupiter are creating the most powerful geometrical alignments in their natal charts. These are the signs that have been in preparation mode, often without even realizing it. And these are the signs that are about to experience what I can only describe as a cosmic payoff. Before I reveal which 3 signs these are, I need you to understand something crucial. If you're not one of these 3 signs, that doesn't mean this energy doesn't affect you. Everyone has all 12 signs somewhere in their birth chart. So even if your sun sign isn't one of the 3, you might have your moon, your rising sign, or other important placements in these signs. And even if you don't, the energy of this transit is rippling through the collective. Everyone can learn from what's happening. Everyone can apply these principles. But these 3 signs, streams, they're the ones feeling the direct hit. They're the ones where the transformation is most visible, most tangible, most life-changing. The first sign that's about to experience this year-end wealth breakthrough is Capricorn. And if you're a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. Because this is your moment. This is what you've been building toward for years. Capricorn, you're ruled by Saturn. That means when Saturn moves through the zodiac, you feel it more intensely than anyone else. And Saturn's journey through Aries over the past months has been particularly significant for you because Aries is your 4th house. The house of home, family, roots, and foundational security. Saturn transiting your 4th house has been asking you to rebuild your foundation from the ground up. Maybe you've been dealing with family responsibilities. Maybe you've been working on your living situation. Maybe you've been processing ancestral patterns around money and security. Whatever it's been, it hasn't been easy. Saturn doesn't make things easy. Saturn makes things real. But here's what's happening now. As Saturn completes its journey through your 4th house, it's forming that powerful square to Jupiter in your 7th house, the house of partnerships, contracts, and one-on-one relationships. This is massive. What this means is that the foundation you've been building, the inner work you've been doing, the security you've been creating, it's about to manifest through partnership. This could be a business partnership that brings significant financial opportunity. This could be a marriage or committed relationship where resources are combined in a way that creates stability. This could be a contract, a deal, a collaboration that elevates your financial situation to a completely new level. I've been watching this transit closely, and what I'm seeing is that Capricorns who've been doing the work, who've been responsible, who've been building slowly and steadily without shortcuts, they're about to be rewarded in a major way. The universe has been testing your commitment. It's been asking, are you serious about this? Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you building something real or just chasing quick wins? And if you've passed that test, if you've stayed the course, the payoff is coming now. Here's what this looks like practically. You might receive a job offer that comes with a significant salary increase. You might close a business deal you've been working on for months. You might find the perfect business partner who brings both capital and expertise. You might receive an inheritance or family money that was tied up. You might finally get approved for that loan or investment you needed. The key is that this wealth isn't coming from nowhere. It's coming as a direct result of the foundation you've built. It's coming because you've proven you can handle it. It's coming because Saturn has tested you and you've passed. But there's something you need to understand about this energy. Saturn doesn't reward passivity. Saturn rewards action. So if you're a Capricorn waiting for abundance to just fall into your lap, that's not how this works. You need to be actively pursuing opportunities right now. You need to be having conversations. You need to be putting yourself in rooms where deals are made. You need to be visible. You need to be strategic. The universe is opening doors, but you have to walk through them. And here's the other thing. This wealth activation for Capricorn isn't just about money in the bank. It's about building something that lasts. Jupiter in your 7th house is asking you to think long-term. Who are you building with? What partnerships are you creating? What foundations are you establishing that will support you for years to come? This is generational wealth energy. This is about creating security not just for yourself but for your family, your future. The second sign position for this year-end financial breakthrough is Cancer. And Cancer, if this is you, I think you're about to experience something that feels almost too good to be true. Because while Capricorn's wealth activation comes through partnership and strategic action, yours is coming through pure cosmic grace. Jupiter is in your sign right now. And not just in your sign. It's exalted. This is the most powerful placement Jupiter can have. Jupiter in Cancer is like a king in his palace, operating at maximum capacity, maximum generosity, maximum abundance. And when Jupiter is exalted in your 1st house, the house of self and identity, it means you become a magnet for opportunity. Things come to you. Doors open. People want to help you. Resources flow toward you in ways that feel effortless. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Saturn in Aries is transiting your 10th house. The house of career, public reputation, and professional achievement. And that square between Jupiter in your 1st house and Saturn in your 10th house is creating this incredible dynamic where your personal magnetism is being channeled into professional success. You're not just attracting opportunity. You're attracting the right opportunities. The ones that align with your long-term goals. The ones that build your reputation. The ones that establish you as an authority in your field. I've been noticing something really interesting with Cancer placements lately. There's this quality of being in the right place at the right time. Synchronicities are increasing. Unexpected opportunities are appearing. People from the past are reaching out with offers. And it's not random. This is Jupiter doing what Jupiter does best. Expanding your field of possibility. But what makes this different from just good luck is that Saturn is grounding it. Saturn is making sure these opportunities are real, sustainable, and align with your actual path. Here's what this looks like for Cancer. You might get promoted to a position you didn't even apply for. You might be headhunted by a company that offers double your current salary. You might launch a business or creative project that immediately gains traction in ways that surprise you. You might receive recognition or awards that elevate your professional standing. You might find that clients or customers are seeking you out instead of you having to chase them. The key is that this isn't about hustling harder. This is about being ready to receive what's coming to you. But I need to be honest with you about something. Jupiter's blessings can be overwhelming if you're not prepared for them. I've seen people receive massive opportunities during Jupiter transits and then self-sabotage because they didn't believe they deserved it. They didn't feel worthy. They didn't trust that it was real. And that's the real work for Cancer right now. Not chasing opportunity, but being willing to receive it. Being willing to say yes when the universe says yes. Being willing to step into a bigger version of yourself even when it feels uncomfortable. Saturn in your 10th house is asking you to take yourself seriously. To stop playing small. To stop hiding behind modesty or self-doubt. To step into leadership even when you don't feel ready. Because here's the truth. You're never going to feel completely ready. Nobody does. But the universe doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It waits for you to be willing. And if you're willing, if you can say yes to what's being offered, if you can't trust that you're capable of handling more than you think you are, this year-end period could completely transform your professional life and your financial reality. And there's something else happening for Cancer that I think is really beautiful. Jupiter in your first house isn't just about external success. It's about internal expansion. It's about growing into a bigger sense of who you are. It's about shedding old identities that were too small for you. It's about stepping into your power not in an aggressive way, but in a deeply grounded, emotionally intelligent way. Cancer energy at its best is nurturing but also fiercely protective. It's soft but also incredibly strong. And I think this transit is asking you to embody that duality, to be open and receptive to abundance while also being strategic and discerning about what you accept. The third sign position for this year-end wealth breakthrough is Aries. And Aries, if this is you, I need you to understand that what's happening right now is the culmination of a much longer journey. Saturn has been in your sign since February, and this has been one of the most intense periods of your life. Saturn in your first house is like having a cosmic personal trainer who never lets you skip leg day. It's been demanding, exhausting, and at times, it's probably felt like the universe was asking too much of you. But here's what Saturn in your first house actually does. It forces you to grow up. It forces you to take responsibility for your life in ways you never have before. It strips away everything that isn't authentic, everything that isn't sustainable, everything that was built on shaky ground. And yes, that process is painful. Yes, it feels like loss. But what you're left with is something real, something solid, something that can't be taken away because it's built on truth. And now, as Saturn moves through the final degrees of your sign, you're about to see why all of that was necessary. Jupiter in Cancer is transiting your fourth house, the house of home, family, roots, and foundational security. And that square between Saturn in your first house and Jupiter in your fourth house is creating this powerful dynamic where the maturity you've gained, the strength you've built, the authenticity you've claimed, it's all being channeled into creating real, tangible security in your life. I've been watching Aries placements go through this transit, and what I'm seeing is a complete restructuring of their relationship with money and security. For many Aries, there's been this pattern of living in the moment, taking risks, chasing excitement, but not necessarily building anything lasting. And Saturn has been forcing a reckoning with that pattern. It's been asking, what are you actually building? What foundation are you creating? What will you have to show for all this energy and effort? And for those Aries who've been willing to do that work, who've been willing to slow down and build something real, the payoff is coming now. This could manifest as finally being able to buy a home. This could be receiving family money or inheritance that creates a financial cushion. This could be establishing a business that generates consistent income instead of feast or famine cycles. This could be creating passive income streams that provide stability. The key is that this wealth is coming through your roots, through your foundation, through the base of your life. But there's something really important I need to tell you about this energy. The square between Saturn and Jupiter creates tension. It creates a push-pull dynamic. Saturn wants you to be disciplined, conservative, careful. Jupiter wants you to expand, take risks, say yes to big opportunities. And you're caught in the middle, feeling both impulses at once. This can be confusing. This can feel like you're being pulled in opposite directions. But here's what I've learned about squares in astrology. The tension is the point. The friction is what creates the breakthrough. Think about it like this. If you only had Saturn's energy, you'd be so cautious that you'd never take the opportunities that could change your life. If you only had Jupiter's energy, you'd be so optimistic that you'd make reckless decisions without thinking through the consequences. But when you have both, when you can hold that tension, when you can be both strategic and bold, both careful and courageous, that's when magic happens. That's when you make moves that are both smart and transformative. So for Aries, the question right now is, can you hold both? Can you be disciplined about building your foundation while also being willing to take calculated risks? Can you be responsible with money while also investing in opportunities that could multiply your wealth? Can you be mature and grounded while also staying open to expansion and growth? Because, if you can do that, if you can navigate that tension, this year-end period could be the moment where everything you've been building finally pays off in a massive way. Now, I want to talk about something that applies to all three of these signs, because there's a pattern I've been noticing that I think is really important. The wealth that's coming through this transit isn't just about money. It's about value. It's about worth. It's about finally being compensated in a way that matches your actual contribution. And for many people, that's been the real struggle. Not that they weren't working hard, not that they weren't talented or capable, but that they were undervalued, underpaid, not recognized for what they were actually bringing to the table. Saturn's journey through Aries has been forcing everyone to confront their relationship with their own value. It's been asking, do you know what you're worth? Are you willing to ask for what you deserve? Are you willing to walk away from situations that don't honor your value? And for the three signs I've been talking about, this has been particularly intense. Capricorn has been rebuilding their sense of foundational worth. Cancer has been stepping into their power and authority. Aries has been claiming their authentic identity. And all of that inner work, all of that self-worth development, it's about to translate into external financial reality. Because here's what I've learned about money and abundance. It's not just about strategy or opportunity or being in the right place at the right time. It's about believing you deserve it. It's about having the internal capacity to receive it. It's about being able to hold wealth without self-sabotaging. And that's what Saturn has been building in these three signs. The internal foundation that can actually support the external abundance that Jupiter is bringing. I've seen this play out so many times. Someone receives a big opportunity, a promotion, a windfall, a major client, and then they immediately do something to undermine it. They overspend. They make a bad investment. They pick a fight with the person who gave them the opportunity. They convince themselves they don't deserve it, and it all falls apart. Not because the opportunity wasn't real, but because they didn't have the internal foundation to sustain it. But when you've done the Saturn work, when you've built that foundation, when you've developed that sense of self-worth, when you've proven to yourself that you can handle responsibility and pressure and success, then when Jupiter brings the abundance, you're ready for it. You can receive it without fear. You can hold it without anxiety. You can build on it without self-sabotage. And that's what's happening for these three signs right now. There's something else I want to address. Because I know some of you watching this might be thinking, okay, but what if I'm one of these three signs and I'm not seeing any of this yet? What if my financial situation is still difficult? What if I don't feel like I'm on the verge of a breakthrough? And I want to be really honest with you about this. Astrology shows timing and potential, but it doesn't guarantee outcomes. The cosmic weather creates conditions, but you still have to show up and do your part. If you're one of these three signs and you're not experiencing this wealth activation yet, I would ask you to look at a few things. First, are you actually taking action? Are you pursuing opportunities? Are you having conversations? Are you putting yourself in positions where abundance can find you? Or are you waiting for it to magically appear while you stay in the same patterns? The same job? The same routines? Second, are you doing the inner work? Have you addressed your relationship with money? Have you healed your scarcity mindset? Have you built your sense of self-worth? Because if you're still operating from a place of not enough, of I don't deserve this, of it's not safe to have money, then even when opportunities come, you won't be able to receive them. And third, are you being honest about what you're actually building? Because Saturn doesn't reward shortcuts. Saturn doesn't reward half efforts. Saturn rewards mastery, commitment, and integrity. If you've been cutting corners, if you've been avoiding the hard work, if you've been trying to game the system instead of building something real, Saturn isn't going to hand you a reward. Saturn is going to keep testing you until you're willing to do what's required. But if you have been doing the work, if you have been building foundations, if you have been showing up with integrity and commitment, and you're still not seeing results, then I would say this. Trust the timing. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing. Trust that everything you've been building is about to pay off in ways you can't see yet. Because that's how Saturn works. Saturn makes you wait. Saturn makes you prove yourself. Saturn makes you earn it. But when Saturn finally delivers, when that cosmic payoff arrives, it's worth every moment of the struggle. I want to talk about something that I think is absolutely crucial for understanding this year-end wealth activation. And it's something that most astrology content completely overlooks. The timing of this transit isn't random. We're not just talking about Saturn and Jupiter forming a square at any point in the year. We're talking about this happening specifically as we move into the final quarter, as we approach the end of 2026. And that timing matters more than you might realize. There's something about year-end energy that creates a natural acceleration. Think about it. In the business world, companies are closing out their fiscal years, finalizing budgets, making last-minute deals to hit targets. In the personal realm, people are reflecting on what they've accomplished, what they haven't, what they want to change. There's this collective sense of urgency, this feeling that time is running out, that if something is going to happen this year, it needs to happen now. And that urgency, that pressure, it actually amplifies the Saturn-Jupiter dynamic we've been talking about. Saturn loves deadlines. Saturn thrives under pressure. Saturn is the planet that says, you have until this date to prove yourself, to deliver results, to show what you're made of. And when Saturn is in those final degrees of Aries, when it's literally counting down to its exit from the sign, that deadline energy is at maximum intensity. You can feel it in your body. There's this sense that something has to give, that something has to break through, that you can't keep operating the way you've been operating. The old patterns, the old strategies, the old ways of thinking about money and security, they're not going to work anymore. Something has to change, right? And it has to change now. And then you have Jupiter in Cancer, which is all about emotional security and foundational abundance, creating this counterbalance. Jupiter is saying, yes, there's pressure, yes, there's urgency, but there's also grace. There's also support. There's also this massive reservoir of resources available to you if you're willing to reach for it. So what you get is this perfect storm where the pressure to act meets the opportunity to receive, where the deadline meets the breakthrough, where the crisis becomes the catalyst. I've been watching this play out in real time with clients and people I know who have these placements. And what I'm seeing is that the breakthroughs are happening fast. Like, shockingly fast. Someone will be struggling with their finances for months, feeling stuck, feeling like nothing is moving. And then suddenly, within a matter of weeks, everything shifts. A job offer comes through. A deal closes. A client signs. Money that was owed finally arrives. And it's not gradual. It's not a slow build. It's like a dam breaking. All that pressure, all that build-up, all that work they've been doing, it suddenly releases in this massive rush of forward momentum. But here's what I want you to understand about this energy. The breakthrough doesn't happen in a vacuum. The breakthrough happens because of everything that came before it. Every difficult conversation you had, every boundary you set, every time you chose integrity over convenience, every time you invested in yourself when it would have been easier to give up, every time you showed up even when you didn't feel like it. All of that matters. All of that counts. All of that is building toward this moment. And this is where I think a lot of people get confused about manifestation and abundance. They think it's about visualizing and affirming and believing really hard that money is coming. And look, mindset matters. Belief matters. But what matters more is action. What matters more is the actual work you're doing to build something real. Because the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. The universe responds to commitment. The universe responds to consistency. The universe responds to people who are willing to do the hard, unglamorous, tedious work of building something that lasts. That's what Saturn has been teaching these three signs. That's what this entire transit has been about. Not just dreaming about wealth, but building the foundation that can actually support it. Not just wanting more money, but becoming the kind of person who can handle more money. Not just hoping for a breakthrough, but doing the work that makes a breakthrough inevitable. And now, as we move into this final quarter, as Saturn and Jupiter form this exact square, all of that work is about to pay off. But, and this is really important, the payoff isn't automatic. You still have to show up. You still have to take action. You still have to be willing to step into the opportunities that are presenting themselves. Because the universe can open doors, but you have to walk through them. The universe can create conditions for abundance, but you have to be willing to receive it. Let me give you some very specific guidance about what to do right now if you're one of these 3 signs. Because I don't want this to just be theoretical. I don't want you to just feel inspired and then go back to your regular life without actually changing anything. I want you to take action. I want you to use this energy. I want you to experience the breakthrough that's available to you. First, get clear on what you actually want, not what you think you should want. Not what other people want for you. Not what sounds impressive or looks good on paper. What do you actually want? What would financial abundance actually look like for you? What would it feel like? What would it allow you to do? Get specific. Write it down. Make it real in your mind before it becomes real in your life. Second, audit your current situation with brutal honesty. Where are you actually at financially right now? What's working? What's not working? Where are you leaking money? Where are you undercharging? Where are you tolerating situations that don't serve you? Saturn loves honesty. Saturn rewards people who can look at reality without flinching. So look at your reality. All of it. The good, the bad, the uncomfortable. Because you can't change what you won't acknowledge. Third, identify the one action that would make the biggest difference in your financial situation right now. Not 10 actions. Not a complete overhaul of your entire life. One action. Maybe it's having a conversation with your boss about a raise. Maybe it's raising your prices. Maybe it's reaching out to a potential client or partner. Maybe it's finally launching that project you've been sitting on. Maybe it's cutting an expense that's draining you. Whatever it is, identify it. And then do it. This week. Not next month. Not when you feel ready. This week. Fourth, start acting like the person who already has the abundance you're seeking. This isn't about fake it till you make it. This is about embodying the energy of abundance before it shows up in your bank account. How does someone who's financially secure carry themselves? How do they make decisions? How do they spend their time? How do they treat money? Start doing that now. Because the external reality follows the internal shift, not the other way around. And fifth, be willing to receive. This might sound simple, but it's actually the hardest part for most people. When opportunity shows up, when someone offers to help you, when money comes your way, can you receive it without guilt? Without feeling like you don't deserve it? Without immediately finding a way to give it away or sabotage it? Practice receiving. Practice saying yes. Practice letting good things happen to you without needing to earn them or justify them or apologize for them. Now, I want to address something that I think is really important, especially for people who've been struggling financially for a long time. There's this belief that if you're meant to be wealthy, it should be easy. That if abundance is your destiny, it should just flow to you without effort. And I want to tell you, that's not how it works. That's not how Saturn works. That's not how real, sustainable wealth is built. The people who achieve lasting financial success, they're not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who were willing to do what was hard. They're the ones who kept going when everyone else quit. They're the ones who built foundations when it would have been easier to chase quick wins. They're the ones who invested in themselves when they had no evidence it would pay off. They're the ones who stayed committed to their vision even when reality was telling them to give up. And that's what Saturn has been asking of these 3 signs. That's what this entire journey has been about. Not making it easy, but making you strong enough to handle what's coming. Not removing obstacles, but building your capacity to overcome them. Not handing you wealth on a silver platter, but teaching you how to create it, sustain it, and build on it for the rest of your life. Because here's the truth about this year-end wealth activation. It's not just about getting money. It's about becoming someone who can hold money. It's about developing the skills, the mindset, the discipline, the integrity that allows wealth to stay with you instead of slipping through your fingers. It's about building something that lasts beyond this moment, beyond this year, beyond this transit. And that's why the timing is so perfect. As we move into the end of 2026, as we prepare to close out this year and step into the next, you're not just receiving a financial breakthrough, you're receiving a complete upgrade in how you relate to money, security, and abundance. You're stepping into a new identity. You're claiming a new level of responsibility. You're building a new foundation that will support you for years to come. I've been thinking a lot about what separates people who experience lasting wealth from people who have temporary falls that disappear. And what I've realized is that it comes down to foundation. People who build wealth that lasts. They're not chasing opportunities. They're building systems. They're not looking for quick wins. They're playing the long game. They're not trying to get rich overnight. They're committed to becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and sustains abundance. And that's exactly what Saturn in Aries has been building in these 3 signs. That foundation. That system. That long-term capacity. The discipline to show up every day. The patience to build slowly. The integrity to do things right even when no one is watching. The self-worth to charge what you're actually worth. The boundaries to protect your energy and resources. The strategic thinking to make decisions that serve your future, not just your present. All of that has been in development. All of that has been in training. And now, as Jupiter in Cancer brings the abundance, as the opportunities start flowing, as the doors start opening, you're ready. You have the foundation to support it. You have the capacity to receive it. You have the wisdom to sustain it. This is what I want you to understand as we move through these final 60 days of the year. This isn't just a lucky period. This isn't just a good transit. This is a culmination. This is a graduation. This is the universe saying, you've done the work. You've passed the tests. You've proven yourself. Now here's your reward. But the reward isn't just money. The reward is becoming someone who can create wealth, who can build security, who can generate abundance not just once, but consistently, sustainably, for the rest of your life. So if you're one of these 3 signs, Capricorn, Cancer, or Aries, I want you to know that what's happening right now is bigger than you might realize. This isn't just about making more money this year. This is about fundamentally transforming your relationship with abundance. This is about stepping into a completely new level of financial reality. This is about claiming your power, your worth, your capacity to build something that lasts. The cosmic conditions are perfect. The timing is aligned. The energy is supporting you. But you still have to show up. You still have to take action. You still have to be willing to step into the opportunities that are presenting themselves. You still have to do the work. Because the universe meets you halfway. The universe supports those who support themselves. The universe rewards those who are willing to do what it takes. These next 60 days are your window. This is your moment. This is when everything you've been building, everything you've been working toward, everything you've been sacrificing for, it all comes together. The pressure you've been feeling, that's not a sign that something is wrong. That's a sign that something is about to break through. The urgency you've been experiencing, that's not anxiety. That's your soul knowing that it's time. That it's finally time for all of this to pay off. So trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust that the universe knows